Pardon? How long have you been doing this? 16. That's increased from training. It used to be from training.
Hello, welcome to Your Capital What's Up. I'm Chuck Wiger, your area state senator. Thank you very much for watching. Today I'm very pleased to have as our guest Steve Adamsky. Steve, welcome to our show.
Thank you. Glad to be here.
Steve is the president of the Oakdale Athletic Association.
Correct.
It's a very successful association involved in numerous programs, and we're going to learn about the various program opportunities. We'll share the website and all that. And but we'd first like to learn a little bit more about you, Steve. We know what an incredible amount of work goes into this, and for just organizing an association. And to get a better idea of the training to be the president, we want to start with your life story. So tell us, where were you born?
I was born in Milwaukee, Wisconsin, and moved up here about 12 years ago.
Okay. Growing up in Milwaukee, a few experiences you'd like to share?
No, juvenile records are sealed. I think it's safe to leave it that way.
Okay. You were a Packer fan, I guess?
Was and still am, yep.
Okay.
Yep.
Thank you for joining. No, that's good that you were active in sports, because it is very pertinent to all the volunteer activity that you're doing. But in school, any particular activities that you most like?
Actually, when I was in high school, I wrestled, and I really enjoyed that quite a bit. Unfortunately, none of my kids were as enthralled with it as I was, so they've taken on other activities in the wintertime.
Okay. But, so how long were you in Milwaukee?
I was in Milwaukee until I was about 25.
Okay.
So I was born and raised there.
Okay, graduated from high school?
Yep.
Which high school?
I graduated from a high school called Pius, sort of the Milwaukee version of like a Hill Murray type school.
Okay.
Then I went to undergraduate college at the University of Wisconsin.
In your yearbook, what might be a couple things if we were to check it out? What did they say about you at Pius?
Boy, you're going back a few years.
Or what did you hope they say?
I hope they said I was a good-looking kid, I was an athletic kid, a smart kid. I'm sure that's what they said. We'll leave it at that.
Okay. You graduated?
I graduated.
Where'd you go?
I went to college at University of Wisconsin in Milwaukee. I got an undergraduate degree in engineering. And then
What type of engineering?
Civil engineering.
Okay, so you're a very good student.
Yep. I was a late bloomer. I got a lot better in college than I was in high school.
Okay.
And then when I graduated from there, I worked in central Wisconsin for the Department of Transportation for a while. And then I transferred back to Madison, or I transferred to Madison, started working there, and went to graduate school there. Wound up getting a master's degree in engineering at UW-Madison.
Okay.
And worked there for about 10 years or so, and looking for opportunities, and that led us up here. My wife and I were fortunate enough to both get jobs up here, so we decided to make a pretty significant move.
Where did you meet your spouse?
In Madison. When I moved
in graduate school?
No, actually, she's a nurse, and she had graduated from UW La Crosse and moved away for a while and couldn't find a job in her field and decided to move to Madison to get a nursing degree. And she and I moved to Madison about the same time, and we met about the same time that we both moved there.
Okay.
So.
Okay, so you married?
Yep.
And did you start a family before you came to Minnesota?
Yes. We have 5 kids. We actually had 4 of them in Madison. My youngest is the only one that was born here in St. Paul. He's actually the biggest Packer fan out of the bunch.
Okay.
So I'm doing something right.
Okay. And it was the employment, the opportunity that brought you to the Twin Cities?
We were looking for something different, something new, and every time we'd visited the Twin Cities, we had a good time. We enjoyed the area. We liked the area.
Watching the Vikings? Or?
Yeah, sure.
Okay. No, but you enjoyed the quality of life and job opportunities, those type things?
We really like Madison, and if you've ever been to Madison, the Twin
have.
Cities is like a big Madison. It's got all the nice things that Madison has, plus it has things that come with a big city. So we thought it was kind of the best of both worlds. And when we got an opportunity to move up here, we took it, and we've been up here and happy ever since.
Okay, and you're just outside Oakdale, I believe, in Lake Elmo.
I live in Lake Elmo.
The association, for the Athletic Association, it serves Oakdale very, very well, but its popularity gets surrounding communities as well. So
we actually serve 622, School District 622,
Okay.
and School District 622 incorporates some of Woodbury, some of Lake Elmo, Maplewood, North St. Paul, Oakdale, and a lot of our programs don't have residency requirements, so we wind up getting kids from St. Paul sometimes. We'll wind up getting some kids from Stillwater occasionally. You know, some of the lines sometimes are a little gray, so there's a lot of crossover. And we happen to.
What is the mission overall for the Oakdale Athletic Association?
OAA is a all-volunteer organization, and our goal is to provide sports opportunities to kids in the area, and we do that through a number of different programs, and we provide it to kids of all abilities and in all sports.
Starting as early as
four-year-old kids.
four-year-olds?
Four-year-old kids can play t-ball. Kindergarten kids can play t-ball and soccer, and then once they start getting into third grade, then they can get into a little bit more competitive soccer. They can get into basketball. They can get into tackle football. We do offer flag football for kindergarten kids now, if they want to go that. That's one of our new programs, and it's also a very successful program. It's only been around for a couple of years. We have over 100 kids playing. We have one gentleman who is a big lacrosse enthusiast, and he's building up the lacrosse program.
Yes.
And so I think he says he's going to have 5 teams this year. He has not had a girls team yet, and I've heard some talk that a group of girls are interested in playing lacrosse, and it's just a numbers game. If we had enough numbers, we would put together as many teams and as many opportunities as we could. So.
What motivated you to get involved? Probably the children.
Correct. My older son was playing sports, and he was having a good time. And
which particular sport, or?
The one in particular was baseball. He had a coach one year that a number of us were not too thrilled with, and we were kind of kicking around our options, and we talked, and people started saying, well, who can coach? And I said, I don't know anything about it, but I'll give it a try. And we were fortunate that we work with Tartan High School on a number of things, and they have coaches clinics, and outside of that there's other coaches clinics and resources available. And a couple of us just got together and said, we can do it, and someone has to put their name down as the head coach. And so I think I lost a bet, so that was me. And I started coaching that, and then as my daughters started playing sports, I was trying to be involved there as well, and I coached them. And as my younger son has gotten into it too, I'm helping to coach a lot of the stuff he's doing. I think over the 10 years or so that my kids have been involved, I've probably coached 36 teams or so.
Wow, okay.
So
you have been coaching for many years.
Correct.
And you also have been involved in leadership positions as well, being president. Tell us about the rise to that level, because you certainly are in a position to entertain a lot of suggestions and recommendations and complaints.
Fortunately, we don't get too many complaints, but what happened was one of the gentlemen that was running one of the baseball leagues decided he didn't want to do it anymore, and so that was a league that my son was going to be playing in, and there wasn't anybody there to step up. And it was another one of those deals where I said, well, I guess I can do that too. So I started as a director in that particular baseball league, and as he grew, I took on another baseball league, and then as an opening came up that nobody else was stepping up for, I ran that one. So for a while there, I was running 3 different baseball leagues, and we had a couple of presidents over the years, and the one president decided he didn't want to do that anymore, and I thought, well, my kids are getting a little bit older. I guess I can try something different, challenge myself a little bit. So I thought, well, we'll try and be the president and see if we can make some changes there, and that's kind of got me to where I'm at right now.
There's a lot of administrative work just in organizing the programs. There's, you mentioned the training of the coaches. We want to make sure that you can provide proper instruction, you have the right type of people, and that's a lot of recruitment. And paying for the sport in terms of all the equipment, the umpires, the officials that are involved, so it's a big budget. You have 5 kids, and as we mentioned earlier, you're an engineer working a very responsible job for the state and active, so how do you juggle all this?
I just keep thinking that in 6 years and 17 weeks, not that I'm counting, my kids will all be out of high school and I'll have lots of free time then. So I figure for this period of my life, I can do things that hopefully will make a positive impact. And at some point, I won't be doing these things. I'll be doing other things. So for right now, it's really not as much work as you think. The first year that you do it, it's a lot. After that, it's routine. I always say everything is easier the second time you do it. So I'm into my second year as a president right now. So
probably have a very good board that you work with as well.
A lot of dedicated people, a lot of very involved, hands-on people. Always looking for more volunteers. We are an all-volunteer organization, so we do need volunteers. When people do it for a couple of years, they get burned out, they get tired of it, so it's always good to get new volunteers to come in and bring some fresh blood, if you will, into it, some fresh ideas, some new enthusiasm. That was what happened with the flag football. There was one fellow that got involved, and he thought, gosh, we should expand this to younger kids. And so he took that on and he ran with it, and I think he started with 20 or 30 kids, and now a couple of years later there's about 100 kids playing, and we'll play teams from South Washington County as well as 622 school district, and I have no doubt that it's going to expand as word of mouth travels with that sport.
And there's how many registrations now for all of your programs?
We register about 2,500 to 3,000 families a year.
Families?
Families, yep.
Okay.
Some of the families will have multiple kids playing, or one kid playing 2 or 3 different sports. Some families will have one kid playing one sport. We count them all based on the registrations.
Is that number growing?
It's been about constant for the last 3, 4, 5 years.
Okay.
I think the population in 622 is aging a little bit, so we're not getting a lot of younger kids moving into the area. But we're fortunate that our numbers are holding and not declining like the school district numbers are.
Good cooperation with the municipalities and the school district, with the fields especially?
We work mostly with the city of Oakdale, and they are very good to us. I got to throw a call out to Randy Bestier. He's the Public Works and Parks Director, and he does just about anything we ask for him in terms of field prep and helping get things scheduled. And when we have tournaments on weekends, they'll provide somebody to come and drag fields for us and line base paths and things like that. They're very, very good to work with. We get a lot of cooperation with them.
Well, thank you, Randy Best, for that, because it's essential that the fields be ready, and you draw a lot of people, parents, relatives, friends, to the various tournaments that you have.
Right.
And actually it has an economic impact as well.
It does.
The activity after the game and things.
Well, if it's a big tournament that people are staying overnight for, which is common, the hotels do good, the restaurants will do good, the gas stations, the grocery stores. Even if they just come for a game and then go back to, say, Woodbury or Egan or something like that, they'll come up here, and if it fits with a mealtime, they'll stop in one of the restaurants and grab something to eat. So we do provide a fairly significant economic impact as well. A couple of years ago, there were some national softball tournaments, and they brought, I want to say, 75 teams from all over the upper Midwest to Oakdale. So,
well, as you know, there's a lot of programs for helping, the training of coaches. You talked about the importance of it, and we at the legislature have had a lot of discussion about concussions, and whether it's at the National Football League or in the hockey. Justin Morneau, or it could be anyone watching their child in a collision. And so Tell us about the additional awareness and training that your coaches are doing to be aware of this.
The coaches are now required to have, they call it awareness training for concussions. And the format that we use, there's a governing body statewide called the Minnesota Youth Athletic Services. Sports are divided up into in-house recreational sports and the more competitive traveling sports. MYAS they're like the parent body for some of the traveling, more competitive stuff. They also are a parent body for some in-house recreational sports. They're a much bigger organization. They're like us. They're a much bigger organization, and they have developed a program that we can take advantage of for our coaches. And when they register, our coaches have to fill out a background check, and it's a national background check. And then they also have to go through the awareness training, and it's an online module that they just have to sit through. We are talking with a couple of people about trying to provide a little bit more medical training, just simple things, how do you know if it's okay to have a kid sit up if they have a collision at a different sport, with another kid, let's say. Is there reasons why you might want to call an ambulance right there instead of having them pull over the bench? Sometimes it is. Sometimes it is. I actually saw a football game, not an OAA football game, but a kid got hit, and I saw him from across the field, and the trainer went out, and they got him up and brought him off, and as he came across the field, I saw his leg rotate, and I knew that wasn't a good sign, and it turned out that his femur was broken, and that can be a pretty serious thing if it moves the wrong way. So we certainly don't want to hurt a kid anymore by moving him sooner than we should. And so we're looking at some options to see what kind of training that we can provide to our coaches to help make a little bit better judgment in the field when something like that happens. And we're fortunate that things like that just don't happen too often. We're very, very fortunate. The number of injuries we have is very, very small. So.
Good. Now, there is volunteerism that makes the programs affordable, but there are the costs. Approximately what is the cost for the registration, and it might depend on what the sport is, and then is there a cap for what a family might pay, or a number of sports, and then what if a young person, they just don't have the funds of their family? So a few questions there.
Yeah, there's a few there. Our philosophy is that the fee that you pay for a sport is supposed to cover your costs for that sport. So for example, if a kid is playing t-ball, he'll get a t-shirt, and they provide balls and provide bats. So the cost is very, very small. I think we charge less than $50 for registration for t-ball. As the kids get older, they get a full uniform, for example, and that uniform has a much higher cost than just a t-shirt. And then they start using umpires. And so the cost for the umpires, the uniforms, the higher quality baseballs, things like that all get factored in, and the fee goes up accordingly. T-ball, like I said, starts at about about $50. And kids that are playing traveling competitive baseball, I believe that's $255. Some of the kids who play in-house recreational baseball that are older that get the full uniforms, it's about $150. Soccer is in that range also. And so our fees are just generally intended to cover those costs. Okay. We're a nonprofit association, so it isn't like we're getting anything off the top of that.
I know you want to serve as many as possible. If affordability is a problem, what happens?
Well, we do have some money available for scholarship. We used to get an outside agency that helped us fund scholarships. The economy is what it is. We don't get that anymore. So we kind of look at it on a case-by-case basis. If there's somebody, I mean, it's a small community, you know everybody. When someone comes in and asks, you kind of know if, so-and-so's out of work or whatever has happened. It's pretty informal, but as always, there are people who try and take advantage of that. And so when we see families year after year not making any attempt to pay anything, then we might take a little closer look at it. But there is some scholarship money available, and we try and help as many people as we can. We may not help somebody, for instance, pay the more expensive traveling program. We might say, well, we can give you a scholarship, but we're only going to cover the cost of the comparative in-house recreational program. And the other thing we do, a lot of times we have sweatshirts like this that the kids can get as part of team wear. And if they're on scholarship, we don't think we should be giving them scholarship help. And then they get sweatshirts and things like that too. So there's things that we do to try and balance it out and try and help our dollars go as far as we can and help as many kids as we can.
Is there fundraising? Candy bars, etc.?
We've tried a number of fundraising options. Most of them involve selling. A lot of kids and a lot of parents don't want their kids going selling door to door. They do it for scouts, they do it for school, they do it for band, they do it for high school athletics. What the big fundraiser that we do is we have a pull tab booth at Sergeant Pepper's in Oakdale.
And Sergeant Pepper's.
Sergeant Pepper's, great walleye, by the way. And it's a pretty successful partnership. We do bar bingo and they have meat raffles, and we have a pull tab booth and things like scholarship. And this year, for instance, in baseball, the equipment requirement for bats has changed. So we have a significant investment in bats that we have to come up with. So our pull tab money can help us pay some of those.
So if a person's patronizing Sergeant Preston's, that's
Sergeant Pepper's.
Sergeant Pepper's, that's going to directly benefit the program, the youth.
Correct.
Good.
Correct.
What is the greatest satisfaction you get from this?
I think just the opportunity to see all kids of all abilities get an opportunity to play. Certainly if a kid is outstanding in one sport or another, there are going to be opportunities for him to play. But that doesn't mean that just because a kid can't play as good as this kid, they shouldn't get to play also. You know, there's a lot of benefits to seeing kids play youth sports. Chances are they're not going to play professionally, but they can learn teamwork. The families get to know each other outside of school. When kids are involved in sports, they tend to be not as involved in illegal activities, things like that. I had a coach in one of my leagues one year tell me that he had been a parole officer for at least 10 years, and over those 10 years that he'd been a parole officer, he'd only had 3 hockey players come in and come through his ranks. So when you're busy doing that, you're not busy doing things you shouldn't be doing.
That's right. Being engaged.
Yep. So hopefully it's providing a more positive influence for the future for our community.
Okay, well, it's very laudable, and we appreciate the volunteerism by so many people to make it an even better place for people to live. And for people that notice that you had an injury there, might be wondering, would you like to share what you encountered at one point in your life?
I had a motorcycle accident quite a long time ago, and it's a permanent injury. So I found out that I could fly like Superman, but that landing is a little tougher than it looks. Actually, I was 18, so it was about 30 years ago.
Yeah, I wiped out on a motorcycle myself at about 16, and the things we do. So.
Did you ride again?
Yes.
Yeah. You've been bitten by the bug then.
Okay. But in any event, I'm very pleased that you have been able to do so much for the youth in this area, as well as provide the leadership for others, the recruitment of people in the program. And I invite our viewers to contact you or the association. We have the website, I believe, on the screen, so they can do that. We mentioned the Public Works in Oakdale. I'd like to salute them one more time, thanking them.
Also, if I could throw it out to the Parks Department too, Mike Anderson is a Parks, I think he's a Parks Director. We work pretty closely, and sometimes people will go into the Parks Department or even City Hall and thinking that we're affiliated with the city, and Mike never gives them a hard time. He just says, give me your information and I'll give it to him, and Steve will contact you.
Wow, that's so important.
Yeah, the partnership is fantastic. We provide a good service for the city, and they provide a even better service for us. So it's a win-win proposition, and I hope it's one that's going to carry on for quite a long time.
Very good. And as you see your children graduate from the programs, you'll wind up your activity, as we all do in our various volunteer roles at some point. Any concluding words of advice for your successor?
Well, I just would like to encourage people to get involved. It's not anything that happens just by one or two people doing it. We have 27 different leagues, and we have approximately 25 people on our board, and everybody has a task, and everybody turns over from year to year to year. And so we're always looking for new volunteers, and whether it's whether you want to run a sport or whether you want to help set up a Facebook page, and anywhere in between. There's also been an awful lot of people who've helped make OAA. I just happen to be the president right now. If you're familiar with the Oakdale area, you must know Ted Berth.
Oh, yes.
Ted started the program probably 41 years ago now.
Yes.
And he helps us out from time to time, and he likes to see baseball at the Oakdale Summerfest, so we always organize a tournament so he can watch baseball at Summerfest. And
Ted is the epitome of volunteerism.
Exactly.
Service.
And actually, one of his sons is on the board right now. One of his sons is one of my neighbors.
Good.
So it kind of goes full circle. So I would just encourage people to volunteer in any way, shape, or form that they can.
Okay, and as you pointed out, it's going to help the youth. It's going to make our community a better place, a safer place. So, and it's another reason why more people want to move here as well, as you did.
I hope so.
So, Steve Adamsky, thank you so much for all you've done. I encourage the viewers to contact you, others. We salute the members of your board, the coaches, and other volunteers, and wish you continued success.
Thank you for having me. Appreciate it.
Good. And viewers, if you have questions of Steve, please give him a call or check the website. I know they're there to serve. If you have a question of me, my cell phone, 651-770-0283, or at the Capitol, 296-6820. For Your Capital What's Up, I'm Chuck Wiger. Thank you very much for watching. Very good.